Hi everyone, this is Jason Zach from Nathaniel School of Music. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to name any chord, each and every chord in music, but not only that, also to name the chord with respect to the root or the scale that you're working in, be it major, minor, or whatever it may be. We are going to use the concept of generic naming symbols, which are essentially Roman numerals. You might have seen them in a few jazz chord charts, or you might have just overheard people, or maybe you also use it. Let's go from the 1 to the 5 or the 4 to the 6. Now, these terminologies work better when dealing with stringed instruments like a guitar or even a violin to some level. On a piano, you have to actually know what is the 1, what is the 4, what is the 6 or whatever. And Roman numeral naming systems have probably emerged during, it's also known as the Nashville chord chart system. If I'm getting the name wrong, could let me know in the comments. So basically, people who are playing, you could say, country or bluegrass kind of folk music in America would play pretty much diatonic major music, major chords, but then there could be this off case scenario where it could move to a flat 2 or a 3 flat or a tritone or a substitution or a chord from basically another scale, or instead of what would have been a major chord, it became minor, and so on. So let's deal with all that. You might want to get your books out, or a pen and paper at least, your keyboards out, to work this out with me. And what you heard in the intro video, if you observe, I played the same chord progression on multiple scales, and I did that only keeping in mind the general chord progression, like how you would do it on a guitar. So in my mind, I've almost made my mind to treat the piano like, a guitar capo system kind of a thing, where the guitar capo is on the 3rd fret, so you play your same chord shape. Your C major changes, it goes up if you go up on the 3rd fret, or D major, you hold the same shape as it will and just go up the fretboard. So do consider hitting that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon for regular notifications, and my handwritten notes are also waiting for you on our Patreon channel, and you can support us for as low as $5 a month. Let's get cracking. So first of all, let's form Roman numerals with respect to the major scale, or actually let's take one smaller step back and look at the Roman numeral naming convention itself. I have done a video on this, so I will go a bit faster. So we link up the Roman numeral naming as well in the description. For starters, any chord that is major, in this case D major, you have to write with a capital Roman number. For any chord that is minor, in this case D minor, you write with a tiny Roman, small Roman. So if you write small 1, it'll be 1 with that dot on top. I hope you know how to write Roman numbers. So the capital letters extend to being for major as well as augmented chords. So capital 1, let's say, for D major, capital 1 with a plus for D augmented. Then small Roman, let's say 1 for D minor. Then small Roman 1 with a degree for D diminished. So the Roman numerals can be summarized as capital Roman for major, small Roman for minor, small Roman with a degree for diminished, and capital Roman with a plus on the top right for augmented. Now alongside that, we have to figure out what Roman number should we actually write. We can't just go writing 1 everywhere or some random number. The numbers come from the scale, from the interval or the scale degree, if you will. Okay, so if the number is 1, whether it's small 1 or big 1, it would imply the root or the tonic chord of that scale. So in the case of the D major scale, the first chord is D major. So you could say the tonic chord is D, F sharp, A, or Roman 1 as you call it. Now if you go to the E minor, which is the second chord, we don't because it's a second scale step from D, E is the second, we prefer to call this as Roman 2 but small. Why small? Because it's minor. So capital Roman, small Roman 2, small Roman 3, capital Roman 4, capital Roman 5, small Roman 6, B minor. Now that's a diminished. So small Roman 7 with a degree and you end. So the chord theory using Roman numerals of a major scale would be 1, 4, 5 are always major. So big 1, big 4, big 5, capital. 2, 3, 6 are minor. Small 2, small 3, small 6. 7 would be small 7 but with a degree sign. The equation will change for harmonic minor and all the other scales which are there in music. Let's just focus on this one for now, the major scale. So if I have to build a chord progression 1, 5, 6, 4 on the key of D, you ask yourself, what is the 1? D. Now go to the 5. You'll have to write that 5 also as capital 5. So capital 1, capital 5, small 6, capital 4. So capital 1, capital 5, small 6, big capital 4. So I can write that Roman numeral format and play a chord progression 1, 5, 6, 4 on as many scales as I possibly can. For instance, B flat major. I've looked at a scale D which has 2 sharps. Let's look at B flat which has 2 flats. 1, 5, F, 6, G minor. E flat would be the 4. 1, 5, 6, 4. Maybe on E. 1, 5, 6, 4. Let's look at 6, 2, 5, 1. That's pretty interesting. On the key of D, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, da 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 da, 2, 5, ba da ba, 1. Yeah. So what will be 6, 2, 5, 1 maybe on B flat major. G minor, paraba, C, paraba, F, parabum, B flat, bump, G minor. So you'll write it as small 6, small 2, capital 5 and big 1. Now, how do you distinguish between or how do you differentiate between a major 7th chord and a dominant 7th chord with Roman numerals? Well, no different than their regular old chords. So a 1 will be a major 7th in a major scale. So you can write 1 Maj 7 or 1 MA 7 or 1 triangle 7 also. Triangle is used for major chords. If you want to do minor 7th, you can do small 1 minus 7. If you want to do minor major 7, then you can do 1 minor in brackets major 7. What about dominant 7s? Dominant 7s are an extension of a major chord. So you go Roman, capital Roman, let's say in this case capital 5, 7. So dominant 7 in the key of D will be A. So that's 5, 7, big 5 and 7. And what else? Minor 7 flat 5. You can write it like that. Like in the D scale, you'll get a C sharp minor 7 flat 5, or you can write it as 7, phi. We use the Greek symbol phi. For diminished 7th, you can do degree 7. That could work. So we've looked at 2 important features of the Roman number or of the chord symbol, so to speak. If I write something like 5, 7, flat 9, let's say, I know a few things. One is I know it's the 5 of the scale. Capital 5 means it's a major. With the 7 makes it dominant. Flat 9 makes it 7 flat 9. So in the key of D, A 7th with the flat 9. So 5, 7 flat 9 works. But What if I want a chord which is not part of the major scale ecosystem? Do I still call it 5? Well, there are some systems which do, but more often than not, like the majority of the world, it's almost become a norm now that whenever it's off the major scale, instead of writing, or let's say you wanted to play a 6 flat, you'll have to write it as flat 6 Roman in the key of, let's say, D. So normal 6 is B, flat 6 would be B flat. So the B flat major chord, or if your intention is to play a flat 6 in a D major scale, which will be a nice borrowed chord, D major, which is the 1 tonic, that's a 6 flat, back to 1, you'll have to write it as flat capital 6 because it's a major chord, or flat 6, flat 7, back to 1, flat 6, flat 7, flat 6. Okay, so what if the scale itself has these flattened or altered major scale notes, like the D harmonic minor? What is the harmonic minor again? So on D it will have the flat 3, flat 6, and either you call it a raised 7th with respect to natural minor or major 7th. So it creates a gap between the flat 6 and the major 7. So with respect to major, 1, 2, 3 flat, 4, 5, 6 flat, 7 normal, normal back. So if I have to now name chords, that will be small 1 minor, small 2 diminished, no flats needed. But now since it's 3 flat, and since it's not a flat 3 major, it's a harmonic minor, it's a flat 3 augmented. So you'll have to write flat 3 plus. Flat 3 plus. So small 1, small 2 degree, flat 3 plus for augmented, regular old 4 minor but small, then your 5 with a 7 flat, that will make it dominant. Then you have your 6 flat or flat 6, extend to flat 6, marge 7 or triangle 7, flat 6, and then the 7 is another diminished chord, but if I extend it, becomes a diminished 7th, C sharp diminished 7th, or in the Roman system 7 degree 7. So note, in the harmonic minor, the second degree is a 2 minor 7 flat 5, while the 7th degree is a diminished 7th chord. So we say both will, the 7th degree you write 7 degree 7, for 2 you do 2 phi. Phi, Greek symbol phi would work. Now I've talked a lot about the harmonic minor scale in previous videos. We'll leave you a couple in the description, especially a few things creatively and compositionally you might find very, very impactful when using the harmonic minor scale. So we've looked at Roman numerals thus for 3 things, which are pretty much all the 3 things. So if I have to take a flat 6 major 7th chord, wow, what was that again? Flat 6 major 7th chord. So what on earth does that mean? Flat 6, if it's capital, it implies something. It means a major kind of chord. Does it have a plus? No. Flat 6 means what? It means minor 6th interval with respect to the scale root. So in the key of C, what's the flat 6? A flat, right? Then what does that extension symbol mean? That major 7th or the triangle. That's basically telling you, apart from the triad, which is the core being major, minor, augmented, diminished. Flat 6 with the triangle means it's adding a major 7th extension. So a flat 6 major 7th would essentially be a major triad plus a major 7th extension. Okay, so that's how you read it. And so the Roman numerals is giving you the scale degree compared to major. It's giving you the quality of the triad, and it's giving you the quality of the extension. And as we dive further, it'll also give you secondary dominant chord notations. I also expanded a little bit, like a hack to notate my slash chords and chords with different voicings or polychords. You can also customize it further to your requirements, actually. So the Roman numeral naming system is a great way to start, because it gives you, like, it can allow you to define and name anything. So just to recap the lesson with that progression I played in the beginning. Let's now name this. Let's reverse engineer it. Find the exact Roman numeral system, generic formula for this, and then transpose it to a few scales. So I played F major. Then I went to A 7th. B flat major. E flat 9th. That's E flat 7th with a 9 there, right? F A 7th. B flat major or B flat major 7th. And then E flat 9th. So you call it, assuming the key is F, 1 major, capital 3 7. Basically, you can even write capital 3 7 as a secondary chord, because this chord resolves to the 6. So it's the 5 of the 6. But I'm not going to the 6. So I'm just going to write it as 1. Capital 3 7 because of dominant. And then capital 4 because it's major. If you're adding a major 7th, you can write 4 major 7th or major 9th if you like that way, or a 6 9, depending on your voicing, depending on your extension. But it's still a 4, capital 4. And then you have this nice chord, which is a surprise, I guess. So this is E flat. What is E flat with respect to F? If you go down a tone, you get a minor 7th interval. So you get E flat. So 7 flat 9. So 7 flat 7 essentially, but it's a 9th chord. So 1 3 7 4 major 7th, 7 flat 9, 7 flat 9. Sounds a bit weird, but when you write it down, you'll visualize it. 7 flat is a minor 7. So if I have to move this to the key of G, I have my formula. So 1 4, which is 3 major, 3 dominant. So that's B 7th, G, major 3rd B, B, C or C major 7th, which is the 4, and then flat 7 dominant or flat 7 9th chord. From a composer's perspective, when you're able to transpose quickly on the fly, you'll also just spontaneously make a new melody for each scale. Trust me, it works. So if I do this on A flat major, 3 major, which is C, 4 major 7 D flat, and then I come down a tone to do F sharp 7th or F sharp 9 basically. Okay, so that's how you use Roman numerals to pretty much play on any scale, any of the three keys. So anytime anything changes around you or any progression that you're given, essentially, my advice to you is even if you know it, or even if it's on Google, or if it's there in sheet music, as a professional musician you need to be prepared, because what if the scale changes, what if the vocalist prefers a different thing, what if it's a duet and you want to kind of get a scale that works for both the male and the female artist, what if you want to do a scale change, by playing a dominant to kind of jump the scale to something else, so to speak. All of this means that you should just look at it as a progression and play it on whatever scale you want. So, verse section, write the general Roman numerals. Chorus, write the general numerals. This is precisely what guitar players do till this day. They make sure they generalize it, so then they end up having that power over the fretboard. They can play it pretty much anywhere you tell them. Guitar, bass players, and other stringed instruments. Okay, so I hope you found this lesson useful in terms of understanding how Roman numerals work, in terms of how chord degrees work with respect to their roots, and so on and so forth. My notes will be waiting for you on our Patreon channel. Do consider getting it and help support us and help us grow as well. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell for regular notifications. Again, this is Jason Zach from Nathaniel School of Music. Cheers.